Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth webisode of Metamorphosis webisode sessions. We have Mr. Nitin Jaiswal, who is a renowned financial expert, who has been working with Bloomberg in Singapore, and he's also having, wide, skills in the area of business domains. Today, he's going to give us insights on the 21st century skills, all the skills that are required in this 21st century. Nitin is going to throw some light. Welcome, Nitin. Good evening for Indian timings. I think it's late evening there in Singapore. Thank you so much for accepting the request and joining our session today. So we have, more than 200 plus viewers currently, watching our session today through various platforms on Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, and all other platforms. They're all waiting to hear from you. And for the past 1 week, I've been getting a lot of messages from the students, in fact, asking that, they wanted to connect to you in person. They all wanted to pitch their ideas to you. And there are a lot of principals that were very much interested to bring you as a guest for their own schools as well. But I think today, we are going to address it to very diverse, people today. And I'm also personally very much excited because this is the first time that we have invited any financial expert to talk about 21st century skills. I think this is one of the new topics for us also. I'm also very much interested to listen to your talk, and I'm looking forward. Once again, thank you so much for joining the session. I know it's all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan. So I hope I'm clearly audible. And to everybody joining the call. So first of all, thank you, Pawan, for the introduction, and also thank you for inviting me to speak at a platform which you have created. It's quite exciting because we want to make sure that Hyderabad is able to produce and India is able to produce large number of entrepreneurs, because that is what the country needs. And your efforts are in the right direction. Okay. And if you see what you see on the screen, the hairstyle and my hairstyle is a bit different, because this is what I call the lockdown hairstyle when I didn't have access to the barber. So I have to grow my hair, pull it back. So just bear with the difference in the hairstyle, but it's the same person, what you see on the screen. So in the spirit of what's happening with the social distancing, the way to greet everybody is the Indian way, namaste. So let me wish everybody namaste, and also hope everybody is following proper social distance norms in the time of crisis, because the only way we can actually overcome this crisis is by staying safe and practicing the right safe distancing measures. So I speak at a lot of international conferences. I speak at a lot of institutes, and I engage with a lot of senior stakeholders, from ministers to prime ministers, from the CEOs. But when I got the invitation from you to speak, and as I speak today, I feel very happy. Personally, there's a lot of happiness and satisfaction, and there are two reasons for that. Okay. And the first reason is what I call the biryani, and the second reason is what I call McDonald's. Okay. So let me start with the first reason of biryani. It should be quite obvious, because the reason I'm personally very happy is because I come from the land of biryani, Hyderabad myself. So I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad. I grew up eating biryani, having Irani chai and samosa, and I still miss that. And whatever I am today, Hyderabad, along with my family, my school, my friends, have played a very important part. And today, if I'm getting a chance to basically share what I have learned, it gives me a lot of happiness and satisfaction. So where does McDonald's come then? So I will get that in the end. Pawan, make sure that you remind me, because I tend to forget things. What is McDonald's all about? Why it makes me happy. So for now, let's step back and go to the main topic, which you talk about 21st century leadership skills. Okay. So before that, let me warn you guys. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, at the end of the session, I'm going to instigate a lot of thoughts and a lot of questions in your mind. And the reason is because I feel the only way to learn anything is when you ask questions, when you explore, and when you engage, rather than just listen. So that means I don't want to have this session to be a monologue where I speak, you listen. I want it to be a dialogue where both of us, all of us, engage. And the only way we can do that is when you ask questions, so that I learn from you and I'm able to share my experience and my wisdom with you guys. So instead of keeping the questions till the end, I will be very happy if you actually step in at different times to ask questions. to express your views. Okay, so that will make the whole conversation more engaging and everybody benefits from that. Okay. So let's move to the 21st century skills. So I was very fortunate that at a very young age, I managed to become a leader. Okay. That means I was able to become a leader in the 20th century. I was able to be a leader in the 21st century. And I have seen what are the skills which work in 20th century, what are the skills which are new in the 21st century, what works continues, and what are the new things we want to actually work on. If you go in the concept of leadership, and if you go and read, there are tons of skills people actually say one should have to become a good leader. Okay, but the way I look at it is from my own experiences of 4 places where I've acquired. One, working from one of the largest financial technology companies, Bloomberg, as a leader. One, learning leadership from the Harvard Kennedy School, where I actually learned leadership there. Third, as a failed entrepreneur of a small startup. Okay, and fourth is through engagement and through schools and colleges. What I've actually learned is what I'm going to share with you to define a good leader. So when I take all those experiences, when I read and all that, so instead of giving you a laundry list of things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 specific things, 3 very fundamental things which each leader should actually focus on. And once you have these 3 fundamental skills, then you can build onto it. And if you don't have these 3 fundamental skills, you're always going to struggle even if you have the other skills. So that's what I'm going to actually focus on. And I'm going to call this, it's something it's easy for us to understand. It's called the ICE and the art of leadership in 21st century. ICE and the art of leadership in the 21st century. Okay, so let's start with the first skill, I. Okay. So what I understand from you, Pawan, is that there are a lot of budding entrepreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to start their own company and make the difference. And there are a lot of people who want to be a leader in a corporate world like Satya Nadella, go and change the world and bring, work on a large corporation. So you have a wide variety of leaders in the group, the budding leaders. Okay. So the biggest fundamental thing which I learned about, the mistakes we think about the art of leadership is that ideas is the main thing which makes a good leader. Okay. So that is very partially correct. Ideas play a very small role in the whole concept of becoming a successful leader. Okay. To explain this, let me share my first story. Okay. So I don't know how authentic this story is, but this is something that has a very deep meaning. Okay, so I'm not saying that it is up to, I haven't managed to find how authentic it is. Okay. And my wife actually shared this with me. So when Chinese build the Chinese Wall of China, Great Wall of China, okay, it's probably one of the most impressive monuments. And the reason why they built this monument was because they wanted to protect their country from the invaders. And it was so strong, nobody could actually overcome that. The wall itself was so strong. But apparently there were 3 times people were successfully managed to invade China. And the reason why it was because the leader who was guarding the gates was not strong. So even he had a great product like Great Wall of China, but the leader was weak. The leader was unable to get people along. The leader did not have the right ethics and character. They were able to bribe him. They were able to, overcome him and attack China successfully. So what does it tell about the leadership in 21st century? So the most important skill, the most important attribute a leader should have is the character and the right attitude. If you don't have the right character and the right attitude, you may have a great idea and a product like Great Wall of China. Somebody will be able to overpower you, will be able to overcome you. Okay, so that is why the most important thing if you want to be a leader is have the right attitude and have a right ethics. That is exactly what our parents keep telling us. Be a good human being. Because as a leader, as they say, you do not build businesses. You build people and people build businesses for you. It's about people who are going to help you to build businesses. And the only way people attract to work for you is when you are a good human being, when your ethics are good. In the 21st century, what I feel the young people, they don't work for a person with a position. They work for a person who has the right attitude. They work for a person who not only care for profit, but who care about the world. We have done this survey at Bloomberg, and what we realized when we do the hiring, 6 out of 10 people, the young people, they always look at what does the company care about more than the profit. If the company is purely focused on profit, if the company purely focused on the individual and the leader, not many people want to work for you. And if nobody wants to work for you, the right people, then you will never be able to build your Great Wall of China. So before you actually build on your ideas and the Great Wall of China, make sure that you invest in yourself to become a strong and good human being. You need to be compassionate. You have to care about the people who work for you. You have to care about the world in which you operate. You have to care about the environment in which you operate. It is not only about the product, not only about your idea, not only about your profit. You have to start thinking beyond this if you want to attract the best talent. So that's why I say the most fundamental thing you have to focus on is the character of a person. If you want to inspire, the I in the eyes essentially stand for inspiration. And the inspiration comes when you have the right ethics and the right attitude. You have that, people will listen to your idea. If you have that, people will come and work for you. Okay, so that's something which I strongly feel we should actually be looking at. Okay. So now, once we have the right ethics and attitude, and how do we acquire that? You might be wondering, where do I actually go? So among the 3 skills, this is one skill you acquire yourself. Okay, and so this is something you have to reflect upon yourself. You have to think deep. If you are selfish, if it is all about you, if it is all about your idea, if it is all about your profit, forget it. Because I have worked with a lot of startups. I engage with a lot of startups. I have seen a lot of leaders, and you yourself, everybody in the group have seen a lot of big ideas failed. Why big ideas failed? Because the leader could not attract the right attitude. The leader could not attract the right set of people. And without people, you will never be able to build your Great Wall of China or your product. That's why I say this is more than the idea. This is something which you actually care about. Okay, you may not have the idea. I'll tell you later how you could actually get the idea, even if you're not good at. But inspiration through your attitude is something you need to actually look for. Okay, so now you have the inspiration, you have the right attitude, you have the right intention. Then what next? Okay, so the C in the eyes is what I call the communication. Okay, so now there are 2 big myths about communication. Okay, the first myth is how well I can speak. It's all about how well I can present. So before I go deep into it, let me share with you one of the leaders I closely follow is Steve Jobs. He said one very interesting thing. He said, people do not know what they want till the time you tell them so. So let me repeat that. People do not know what they want till the time you tell them so. So what does it mean? So he gave this statement when he was releasing the product iPod. Everybody went to him and they said, why will anybody buy an iPod? Nobody is going to buy when you have the MP3 players, when people have Sony Walkman, it will be a failure. Why will anybody go to an iTunes store to buy the phone? But Steve Jobs turned around and said, I'm going to tell the world that you actually need it. They may not know they need it, but I'm going to tell them that you need it. So he built the product and eventually it became one of the best selling products. Okay, so where does the communication actually comes in? With young people, my expectation is that they are the disruptors. They have to change the status quo, which has not happened. And this is where, Pawan, you need to actually help these guys, okay, in terms of communication. So what do I mean? If you look at Twitter, okay, if you look at social media platform like Instagram, okay, so what happens over there? Twitter basically allows you to express your views in very limited number of characters. Okay, you have to be extremely creative to express your views. Instagram allows you only 1 minute of video to express your idea. But whereas when we think about communication, we think about long presentations. We think about slides after slides and slides after slide. Where the world has changed in the 21st century is that people do not have time to listen for the long presentations. That is the reason why Twitter has been so successful, Instagram has been so successful, social media has been so successful, because people want to read messages in as short possible way, as much as possible. But that has not translated into the leadership style. I have sat through slides after slides and the presentations after presentation. And that's where I say, I expect young entrepreneurs in this group to come and change what Steve Jobs has done. I want you to go and challenge, can I change the art of communication into the shortest possible way? Can I make my pitch into 3 slides? Can I convince somebody about my idea to invest in me in 2 slides? The chances are, the way Twitter changed, you may be actually doing it. But if you continue to follow what has been done all along, you will continue to do that. You will not be the disruptor. And if you want to be a successful leader, you need to step back and challenge what is existing there and see, is there something I can do better? And that better is, how can I minimize my communication time with people? And that is the reason why I do not have any slides with this presentation. I wanted to have a dialogue and a conversation with people. Come to think of it, Pawan, if you see the great monuments which have been built in the past, they never had any PowerPoints. How did they manage to convince so many people that they should be working and building all these big monuments? That means it can be done. Somebody needs to try. Can you help the students over here to be that disruptor who change the way the communication is done? And that is to communicate is in as short time as possible, is as less slides as possible, as concise as it is possible. And if you can do that successfully, guess what? Everybody else will start following. So let me go back before I go to the next point on Steve Jobs. So another interesting thing which Steve Jobs did with communication was very interesting. You can actually go and watch the YouTube videos, how Steve Jobs does his presentation. So when Steve Jobs go and make his presentation on the product, he has a certain style. His style is 1 number on a screen, 1 photo on the screen, no messages, no bullet points, nothing. It's just 1 message on the screen. And he get people excited. And guess what? After that, people said, wow, this is the way the presentation can be made. And if you look at Samsung, you name any product launch, is exactly what Steve Jobs have actually done with his style. He challenged it, he changed it, and everybody started following. And if you want to be successful in the 21st century as a leader, you need to step up and be the disruptor. And when it comes to the art of communication, one thing which needs to change is the length and the content of communication. Can you concise that into the shortest possible way? The fact that everybody wants to talk, nobody wants to listen. This is the fact. None of us want to listen. Everybody wants to talk. So what makes you think that if you want to talk for 1 hour, people are going to listen? Okay, everybody has the same problem like you have. Nobody wants to listen. So why are you wasting time? Step back, disrupt, and think how you can change that. That is what I expect from the 21st century leaders. Okay, so that is the first part, is in terms of the communication. Okay, I'll share a very interesting anecdote about that, how you can be, but let me go to the second point of the communication. The other myth, the other problem we have with the communication with the leaders in the 21st century and the 20th century, and we learned all these bad habits from the 20th century, which need to be changed in the 21st century. When we say the art of communication, we always talk about how to make a presentation. Yes, that's what everything happens. But if you want to be a leader, more than what you speak is your ability to listen determines how good communicator you are. Communication is a two-way. It's communication is not about talking. Communication is also about listening what the other person says. But we are very bad at listening. So I have an idea I want to pitch to you. I want you to listen to my ideas. When I go and meet, private equity guys, I meet investors, I meet leaders, I want them to listen to my ideas. I want people to listen to me. So when you have smart people you are able to acquire, even they would like to express their ideas to you. They don't want to sit and listen to long lectures from their bosses and the leaders. Can you become that leader who can sit and have the ability to listen? That is something which you need to develop. As much as the ability to speak, listening is as important as well. So how can actually listening help your team and yourself in building the great idea? Okay, so let me share this with you. The first thing you need to do in terms of listening is what I call instigation of ideas. Okay, if you go and if you feel that I have a very smart team, smart people have smart ideas, how do you get that out of the team? Because I may have one idea, but my smart team can have 5 ideas which can make an idea which is better than mine or make my idea better. So one skill a leader should have is the ability to instigate people so that they are able to come up and express their ideas. And when you get people to express their ideas, your job as a leader is to connect the dots, some of the best things which is coming out, and come up with a better idea. So I listen to person A, person B, person C, and connect what is the best and come up with a better idea. Then the idea which you come up with, everybody feels it is their idea. When people feel it is their idea, they would like to give everything to make that idea happen. If I tell you to work on my idea, you will do it because you have a job to do, because you want money, not because you really like it. And you're not going to get the best out of it. But if you feel it is your idea being worked, you will go out of the way to help make sure that the idea happens. So that's why listening is as important as talking. And the first step in listening is the ability for you to instigate ideas in other people. The second thing is to connect those dots and come up with the ideas. So let me go back to the first thing when I said ideas are not that important as attitude and the inspiration, is because even if you don't have idea, if you have a smart team, if you have a strong team, you will be able to come up with a much better idea. Okay, so you may have a great idea. If you have bad communication skills, you'll never be able to make that company successful. You will never be able to get people to come behind you. So that's why some people have the art of coming up with great ideas. But if you are one of those who don't have that, don't lose heart. Use this, a way to get ideas out of people and connect the dots and come up with ideas. Okay, so one of the things I always tell people that God is kind to everybody. He has given skills to everybody, but those skills are different in each person. I may have a skill which Pawan doesn't have, but Pawan has skills which I don't have. The only thing I need to figure out is what I can do with what I have, rather than worrying with what Pawan has. And this idea is exactly that. If I don't have the ability to come up with the smartest idea, no problem. You can still become a leader. You can still become an entrepreneur. The only thing you need to do is have the ability to basically instigate people to express their ideas and connect the dots. Okay, so this is the something, two things, on the communication part. Can it be done? The answer is yes. Can it be improved? The answer is yes. If you look at, I think most of the people are, born in 2000s, what I call the millennials, and the generation Z is what you guys are called. I remember there was a time when the RAM was 2 GB RAM used to be on my desktop. Okay, and the processor used to be very small. But in my small phone, they were able to condense much bigger capacity, much bigger power in terms of RAM. My phone has a 16 GB RAM, whereas my desktop used to have 2 GB RAM. So what does it tell me? You guys are the technology Greek, the future of tomorrow. If the technology can condense the power into small device, why can't you condense a large message into shorter period of time? Why that disruption has not happened? I expect the leaders of 21st century to do it, because you guys are the social media generation where you guys don't have patience. The people who are going to work for you don't have patience. So learn that, because you don't have patience, because your people are also a reflection of you. So this is something I feel in communication you need to look at. Before I give the last part on communication, I want to see if people have any questions. I see 5 things on the chat. Or Pawan, if you have any questions.
Yes, yes. I have few questions.
Yes.
Nitin. So you've been talking about the inspiration, and also the communication aspects. So at the school level, how can they improve their communication skills? I mean, is there anything that you suggest them
Yep.
to do on a day-to-day basis? Because see, one of the common things that even I also see is whenever I ask them to come up with their business presentation, everyone will come up with about 25, 30 slides. They talk too much about their idea, and they stress too much about, telling their idea rather than, asking what they actually want. So is there anything that you, give them
Yes.
or give any suggestions to the students?
Okay, this is something I learned and I shared with my nephew who is actually listening to this now, who's there, and something which I learned from my son also when he look at the YouTube. So he always say, you know what, fast forward it. So he increased the speed at which you can actually watch. That clearly says people don't have patience. So how do you solve the issue which you raise, Pawan? Is if I have 30 slides, I have a big idea. How do I condense that? Okay, everybody loves to talk. Everybody wants to talk everything. The issue is that on the other side, people don't have the patience to listen. Okay, the way to do that is what I call in history in 200 AD. Okay, a Greek philosopher said a human mind can remember only 3 messages. That's it, only 3 messages. That's why anything beyond that, a mind cannot recollect. So if you step back and see, every great thought which has changed the world has only 3 messages. I came, I saw, I conquer. Government is for the people, by the people, of the people. Friends, countrymen, Roman. Okay, lies, damn lies, and statistics. So every great thought which changed the world had only 3 messages in it. Okay, and it's also, you say, what is it? Tell me ABC: gold, silver, browns. There is no basically fourth there. So the reality is, human mind can remember only 3. So if you accept this, then go back. If I am going to talk about 100 things, and if people are going to remember only 3, what are the 3 things I want to talk about? Okay, the way to do that is the way I do is, when I started, I used to have a lot of slides, to the situation where I don't have any slides, is I write down the 10 things which are important about my business plan, which I want to communicate. Okay, then I put them in a sequence. 1, the most important one; 2nd most important; 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Then I tear the page and I do the same thing again. I do 3, 4 times, then I see which are the things which come right at the top all the time. If I say certain 3 ideas always keep repeating at the top, then I know these are the 3 things which I personally feel are very important. And I discard everything else, because nobody hears and cares about that. So what will happen because of this? A few things. 1, you're able to communicate your message much more effectively the way you can actually hear.
Yeah.
2, when I have to remember only 3 things, it's much more easier for me to prepare my presentation. It is much more easy for me to remember my presentation. But if I have 30 slides, I'll be sitting through the whole night remembering about every slide, and next day morning I'm so stressed, I mess up. But 3 things, much easier. That is why I said I'm going to talk only about the three elements. Pawan, can you repeat what are the things I said I'll talk about?
Ice,
That is exactly the point. Very rarely we remember something which people talk about.
Yes.
But if I had put fourth and fifth, the chances are you would not have remembered it.
Yeah. 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 So there are more questions coming in into
Yes,
our.
please go ahead. Go ahead. Let me answer one more before I.
Okay, so Arnav Jaiswal has asked,
Yeah.
we see that every year, young entrepreneurs are rising, and even I'm a teenager. I've been to multiple events, and I have seen even younger people presenting their ideas, which have the potential to grow into a much better product. We say that age is just a number, but as far as I have seen, people don't really react to those ideas as they do for other senior age groups. Not all platforms are like Metamorphosis. So, according to you, how should a young kid who has a really good idea can impact the minds of people? Good
Okay.
question.
Okay, Arnav. So let me actually share this with you. Okay. This is something a very philosophical answer. People at that age may not understand. I feel at that teenage, at the young age, you should be working for yourself. Okay. You should not work or worry about other people. Okay. So imagine a situation where you come up with an idea. Okay. The good thing is that the idea get accepted, and then you start working on the idea, and that's it. You will never get a chance to come up with another idea because you're too consumed with that. But as you keep growing old, you become more valuable if you have worked on different multiple ideas. So the benefit of it is that when you say somebody is experienced, what it means, and that person has multiple experiences of managing different challenges or executing different projects compared to somebody who has done only one project. Okay, so if I come to you, Pawan, with a request for a job, you have two options. One with only one project somebody has done, and one who has done 5 projects, 3 have failed, but 2 have successful. Who do you think you are going to take?
Second one, definitely, because
Because not because the one idea became successful, because this person has a multiple ideas. So Arnav, my response to that will be work for yourself. Okay, you feel passionate about the idea. This is the age for you to try as many new ideas as possible, and fail, no problem. You learn from it, you come back and you work something new. Because the day you become successful, that's it. You will stop experimenting. And when I know, like Arnav and everybody else, they are so smart, they're capable of coming up with much better ideas, much different ideas. Why do you want to restrict yourself to one? That is the thing. Is if I step back and look at Google, okay, there is a saying which says the biggest enemy of creativity, you know what is the biggest enemy of creativity? Is success. The day you become successful, you become very risk averse. That's why a film star, when he becomes successful, he keep doing the same film again and again, because he's scared that if he does something else, people will not. Okay. And if you look at Google, the only time they have actually done any experimentation was when they came up with a search. After that, every product was acquired. YouTube was acquired, Maps was acquired, Gmail was acquired, Android was acquired. Okay. They could not think of something like Zoom because when they had all the Gmails, they could not think of WhatsApp when they have access to all the Gmails. They could not come up with an idea like Facebook because they were so successful their search. They were scared that if I do something else, they will fail. You don't want to be at this age. Do it for yourself. Keep trying new ideas. Success will eventually come. If it comes on the first try, fair. Doesn't come, no problem, because you're doing it for yourself. I will not take it to my heart. I will take it that I got a chance to work on a new idea.
I think this is one of the best quotes that even I have heard so far is, biggest enemy of creativity is success. I think, yeah, I mean, I strongly believe in that. But one more interesting question, Nitin, before we get into another topic from Sahil. I think it's a good question that he has asked. He said, good evening, sir. I'm a 12th grader To me, school has started to feel like a big burden. I feel like spending a large college fee to study physics would be pointless. I have considered dropping out of a school to work on my project ideas and a company and to, as you said, disrupt the status quo. I would really appreciate your opinion on this so I can make a proper informed decision. I think it's one of the responsibilities that is giving you. But yeah, what is your take? I mean, even I keep getting these kind of questions from the students. They say that, I'm not interested in physics, maths. I'm interested in, say, daily current affairs or say business world quotient. My school is not teaching, but because of the parents, I've been going to the schools. Uh, what is your take on all of this?
Okay. So the first, I have few takes. I have a very strong view on that. This is something I and Arnav regularly talk about because he also has the same thing. Because this generation is so smart. When I talk to you guys, I'm like amazed how smart you guys are. Okay, it's just amazed. Okay. And I'll give you one example of that. I remember when I used to learn typing, my father used to say, go and learn typing. Okay, we used to go to a typing institute. For the young generation will not believe that we actually went to typing institute to learn typing. And I used to take 3 months to learn typing. But now, by third year or 4-year-old can actually type without going to a class. That is how smart people have actually become. Okay. So the thing is that, you have to take your parents into confidence in this. Parents play a very important part in this. Okay. What I tell my kids may not be applicable what every other parent actually think. To me, the school is a place to experiment. Okay. The school is the place to build a network. That is what, see, when I look back, what I remember from school, the answer is none. But what I remember is what the relationships I have built, the ability to deal with people, okay, and to try out different things, because I can, keep doing different things and I don't have to worry about it. In a job, you cannot do that. Tomorrow you have become an entrepreneur. Going back to Arnav's question, once you become an entrepreneur, you become successful. You can't try any of that, which you can try only in school. When I come to McDonald's, this is where I'm going to actually talk about. Okay. So to your point is, if you feel that school is not adding value to you, okay, then if you're not worried about the numbers, the exam and the results, don't worry about it. Just go there and try to get the best, which is your relationship, your engagement, experiment with ideas you care about, current affairs. Get a group in your school so that you can actually talk with each other and come up with new ideas. But if you're not in school, who do you engage with? Who do you talk to? If you look at it, ask your parents who are working from home, they don't know who to talk to because they don't have relationship, they don't have contacts with the outside world. A lot of people came to know about you, Pawan, because a friend in their class must have told them. They went for a competition, they came back and they told them. But if you are sitting all by yourself in isolation, you will never be able to do that. Yes, the one thing which I will strongly recommend, and I'm happy to work, is what we need is disruption in the education system. Because when people of 3 years can learn typing what it takes 3 months for a 20-year-old in our generation, that means the learning process can be fast track, can be shortened so that you can learn the same thing in a shorter possible of time. And then you leave the other time to experiment with new things. This is the take the challenge to see how it could be disruptive of that. But having said that, to going back, what should I actually do? I want to make sure that it is more of a personal conversation to have rather than give a sweeping statement. But if you don't care about the numbers and the marks, use the time to network, to engage and experiment with new ideas. And something good will definitely come out of it.
Wow, wow. I think it's a strong message to all the parents, principals who are also watching, this session live. I also strongly agree that, school gives you that ecosystem. It gives you, a lot of, the ecosystem is really important at this age because, I have taught few of the students, who dropped out of the school and who've been working on the businesses, but the kind of ecosystem or the kind of exposure that others have, these people, they really lack in that. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of mixed opinions on this. I think once we open this session, the last, we can have very good chat on
So
this.
listen, just one thing, let me add to that. The same conversation my son has. He
Yeah.
feels he learn more on YouTube
Yes.
than in the school. Okay, I tell him go to school to have fun, to build relationship, to do engagement, and to
Yeah.
experiment with debate, discussions, and all that. So he keep coming back, listening to different ideas, and
Yeah.
that is helping him to become a character. If he doesn't get top of the class, I'm fine with it,
Yeah.
because my purpose of him going to school is to get that part.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. So there are many more questions, Nitin. So
Yeah.
you want me to, you want to
Yeah,
address?
please go ahead with the question. Please go ahead with that. I think that is what they're more interested in. So let's do that.
Yes. Yes. So one question from Samia Khan. She asked, "Sir, what if the parents are not really willing to allow their children to take up an idea just because they're scared that their child would fail? Indian society and parents have a thing for reputation. How do we change this ideology?"
Okay. It is a generational thing which is going to take time. That is a reality. Some parents are already changing, but not all parents actually change. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I feel is, if an idea does not require a lot of time and money, okay, then find ways to actually work on it in your free time. Once they see the success, automatically they start believing in it. Maybe let's say that you have a great idea and you have a situation where you don't have the financial mean or any support to actually make that happen. I will start writing about it. I will start discussing about it. I will share those ideas, because there's so many different platforms through which you can actually see. What is going to happen with this generation is that you come up with a great idea. The world is looking for the next big idea. That is a reality, because all the private equity guys or the private venture capitalists are sitting on a lot of cash. They are looking for the next big idea. And if you strongly believe that you have an idea, maybe you have this thing, and you go and keep expressing on the LinkedIn as a platform, and start writing even on your Facebook account. Because if somebody reads it, or make a YouTube video about it and just put it out, and suddenly what happens? Somebody picks that up, and before you realize, they are happy to actually back you. We did not have those kind of benefits which you guys have. Okay, so there are different ways through which you can convert ideas. Not necessarily you have to execute on that, but you could actually crystallize and use different platforms to communicate about it. If somebody reads it, the message goes out, people are there to help you.
Yes. Yes. So, all right. And we have one casual
Yeah.
question from Krish. So, what are the books you read and recommend for budding entrepreneurs? Who are your
Yeah.
mentors?
So one of the things which I will actually tell is, more than the reading part, I will actually say observe.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, Engage and observe. The more you talk to people, the more you express your ideas about leadership, get those ideas challenged.
All right.
Okay, I have a different philosophy on this thing. Maybe it's completely different than the others. I will always start with my own idea before it get influenced by what is there in the book. Problem is, when you read the book, you start forming without thinking. Okay, this is something I did with Disha, and I want to do this with everybody. This is my favorite exercise I do. Okay, I ask you guys mentally, and Pawan, for me, you do it on the screen. Draw a bulb. Just draw the bulb on the screen, Pawan. Just like how it should like. Just do it for me. Okay. Yes. And I can bet everybody in this group has drawn the bulb exactly the same way. You know why? Everybody read the same book. Nobody has thought the bulb could be drawn or could be made in some other way. Apple, Steve Jobs said, this is the phone which everybody looked like, Motorola Razr. Okay. Then he said, no. This is not the way to make a phone. Then he came up with a smartphone. Then people said, wow, this is the smartphone. Now everybody make a smartphone exactly like what Steve Jobs said. But if you are an idea guy and reading the textbook, you will start making the phone like that. But there will be one smart guy who has not read the book, and he will think that the best way to make a smartphone is not like this, something else. He make it, and he's the successful one, then we move on to the right one. So before I recommend, as I said, human mind is extremely strong in terms of the imagination. There is no right, there is no wrong in terms of what is a good leadership, bad leadership, entrepreneurship. Okay, so first I will recommend you to come up with your own ideas, start thinking, debating, and talking, then go back and match it with book and refine it, rather than read the book which says this is how the bulb should be drawn and your entire creativity is gone to dogs. So instead of recommending books, I will recommend you to start using your imagination. Pick up a problem. How will you solve it? Imagine yourself, COVID crisis, how am I going to solve it? And then cross-check with how other people are doing it. Then you learn your own interpretation. If you want to be successful, your idea has to be unique. And that is the way to make idea unique, when it comes from you without any influence from outside world. So I will not recommend at this stage. I will recommend you to push your imagination to come up what an entrepreneur should be. How do you want to solve different crises, and go back and cross-check it. Then I will give you the name of the books to read.
Wow, nice, nice. So we have one question from Neti, student of Metamorphosis. So she asked, sir, according to you, when do you know that you are truly successful, and what do you do after you are successful? When do you know what, according to you, is the definition of success?
It's a very interesting question along with this thing. See, the success to me, this is my personal view. I think I enjoy the journey more than the destination itself, as we say. So for example, when I'm working on a project and the day the project becomes successful, I have that moment of satisfaction. Thank God it was a successful project. If I'm preparing for a presentation or for an event, do that. If I win the prize, the satisfaction is very momentary. I go onto the stage, I pick it up, I come back, and next day it is very normal. So my success moment is very short. But what is more long for me to remember and cherish, how you actually work towards that. All the nights you stayed back, how you got up early, all the challenges you had, that is what you remember. You don't remember going on the stage and all that. Okay. So to me, I will actually enjoy the process of the project. Okay. And not so much of the success, because the success moment is very short. Okay. So when it is going to be successful, it all depends on the project. Okay. Let me tell you one thing on this before we move on to the next one, is everything in life is a risk. There is no guarantee of success. When it becomes successful, we say, wow, it's a successful project. When we start, there is no guarantee that it is going to be successful. That's a reality. If it failed, we say, oh, we took a risk. Everything in life you are doing is actually a risk. If it becomes successful, we say, wow, it's a successful idea. But when you start it, there's no way for you to tell it is going to be successful. Okay, so everything in life is risk. Okay, so the success is where you have set that I want to go to 100 and you feel that you're reaching 100, then you're done. But the point, again, I go back to that. After that, you don't know what to do next. That is the problem of success. The guy who made Hotmail, he created Hotmail, very successful, Naveen Bhatia. He sold it for $300 million. That moment of success, I'm the richest man. Afterwards, I don't know what he's doing. Okay, so that's why it's very momentary. So make sure that you enjoy the journey, you learn, you fail, so that you have a large repository of things, so that you can learn and build something new again.
Yeah, nice. So, okay, one question from Nalin Singh is, in terms of sharing ideas and our share of thoughts, there is always a fear of one's idea getting stolen. Somewhere doing it, somewhere or someone doing it better than you. How to evade that fear of losing?
Okay. See, there are two ways to look at that. That's a reality. At some point or the other, you have to let go your idea out. Okay. But what I feel is, when you have come up with an idea, only you know the passion and you know the reason why you have come up with. Okay. But I can read a recipe, you can read a recipe. Okay? But only one guy can actually make it better. If the other person has a better way of actually making it, guess what? Even how long will you keep the idea to yourself? The point is how long you keep the idea to yourself. Sooner or later, it has to come out. But if the idea itself is not that strong, if somebody can improve it, guess what? If not today, day after tomorrow, he's going to improve it. So that is why it is very important to have the right people around you who you can challenge, who you can work with to keep improving the idea. The biggest mistake the entrepreneurs do with an idea, they keep the idea to themselves because we feel we are the best when it comes to that. Maybe it is, but other people could actually help us to do that. So the way I'll summarize that is keep engaging, keep doing it. The risk is that if somebody has a better idea, better way of doing the work which you are doing, they will actually do it. If not today, tomorrow. That's a reality. So make sure that you are absolutely sure that your idea, the way you want to execute is the best. Nobody else can do better than that. The reason why they're able to copy and do it is because they can do it better than you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
And that is where I want to segue the third part of E. Okay. It's a very good thing which he asked that question. I have an idea why it will fail and what if somebody actually copies. So let's recap. So inspiration, the character, the communication, and what is E. If there is one reason why ideas fail, why leadership fail, is because they don't have the ability of E, which is what execution. Idea is one small part. That's why I said, but making ideas happen when you're able to execute on it. And execution of idea is by far the main reason why projects fail. Why? Because we are so possessive about our ideas, we don't want other people to get involved in it. But there is a limit to how much you can actually do something on your own for your idea. You need to get other people to come and help to make that ideas happen. When smart people come to you, and that is where I said, why will smart people come to you? Because you have the right character, you have the right ethics. If you don't have the right characters and ethics, you will never be able to attract smart people. And if you don't have smart people, you will never be able to execute on your idea. That is why I said the fundamental is your attitude and a character. So now you have the right character, you have the right idea, you communicate it well, and you have collected people. Does that mean you'll be able to execute on the ideas? Pawan, we know the world is littered with so many failed ideas. Fantastic ideas have failed. Why it failed? Because they are unable to execute. We focus so much on idea, forget that execution is what going to make it happen. I learned it the hard way. I used to be that. I used to think idea was important till the time I realized execution is more important than the idea. Ideas, I can collect people and come up with an idea, but execution, without that, no problem. So execution is key. So what happens in terms of leadership, what you need to learn, and this is something you will never hear, never read in any of the textbooks in terms of the art of leadership. Leadership is not about inspiring people. Leadership is not about communicating things. Leadership is all about managing people's ego. Leadership is all about facilitating so that your team can work the best possible way. Because two brothers fight, two neighbors fight, two drivers on the road fight. What makes you think that the two smart employees will not fight and will not have ego? So if you have 5 people in this team which are very smart to help you to execute ideas, they have their own metrics. They have their own egos. Your job as a leader is to make sure that you remove all that, you facilitate so that they are able to execute on the idea which you have, the work which you have actually given to them. If you cannot facilitate, you will fail. What happens? People start fighting, people leave, there's a lot of politics and all that. So what I have learned is the best leader is the one who can get things done, not the person who has the best idea. Best idea, that's why I said, is the small part. What you need is the ability to facilitate people so that they can go and execute on the things which you have asked them to do, because two people cannot work well with each other. Okay, so more than the idea, it is how you execute is more important. People don't think about that. When you look at the business plans, people continue to talk about ideas, but very little time is spent on the real execution of it. So if I have to go to school and learn, this is what I will learn and practice. The art of execution is what is most important in the whole leadership scheme. Just if I have 2 minutes, if I can add to this, is because we are talking about 21st century. So what has happened is, as somebody said at grade 12, okay, I don't want to study further. I know he's very smart, okay. If you, Arnav talked about, he's very smart for his age. He may say, you know, after 12, I'm done this thing. So these guys are so smart. They can go and work anywhere, like everybody in this group. So how do you keep them engaged? How do you inspire them so that they can work? If you leave them on your own and without facilitating them to achieve their goals, they will leave and go because they don't care. In my generation, it was very difficult to get a job. Once I get a job, I'll do everything to hold on to it. But the current generation don't care. Like they don't care. I say, listen, if I don't have a degree, I don't care because I'm smart, I can make it, things happen. Same thing, okay, you don't give me what I want, I'm off to the next one. So that's why you want to be a successful leader. You have to have the right ethics to attract the right people. And then you should be in a position to facilitate these people so that they are able to execute to best of their abilities. Else they are gone, and what you are left with is just an idea, which is of no use. So let me take a pause here.
Yes, there are a few more questions that we have got.
Yes,
one from Mania Trivedi, one of our students. She asked, "Sir, according to you, which skill is the most significant and would reap long-lasting impact during the period of COVID crisis?"
Okay. I think, you know, if I have to basically pick up two things over here. One, I will actually start building the repository of the things world need to solve. Okay. Because what happens is when you are in your day-to-day run, you don't get time to really think. Either you are bogged down with that one idea which you got and you refuse to think the other possibilities, which is a waste of the talent of the smart people which are there, because I know they are capable of doing much better things, coming up with more ideas. Okay, so this is what something I was sharing with one of the MBA institute I was talking to. You know, what do we do during the COVID crisis? You know, one of the things is that we realized there are a lot of challenges which has come up because of this crisis. Working from home, the medical crisis, you know, all this kind of crisis. Those problems need to be solved. Okay, I will actually list what are the 3 or the 5 or the 10 key things or the key problems which you have observed, which keeps troubling you. Okay, then I pick up the top 2 or 3. And the other day I was actually giving, they said, sir, where do we find ideas for our startups? I said, go to your mother's kitchen, open the refrigerator. The point is that the refrigerator was actually meant for the Western kitchens. Ask your mother how easy it is to use to the kitchen and what are the challenges she's facing, and she'll give you 5 problems she's facing with storing her stuff on the refrigerator. That design is your startup idea. Just walk to the kitchen and talk. So the point is, there are a lot of problems which need to be solved. I'll give you one startup idea if anybody is interested. Okay, I'm a photographer. I am a very passionate photographer. Go and try to use Google Photos. It's probably the most difficult product to actually use from a big company like Google. Just because it's Google, that doesn't mean they do the smartest thing. Is there a better way for me to organize the photos? Is there a better way for me to basically solve this problem? You are sitting at home with the COVID crisis, and then you're looking at photos. You say, listen, it sucks. I don't know how to solve the problem. Think how you can solve the problem of enjoying the photos. Go to the kitchen to see what are the challenges which you're actually facing. Then you keep coming up with the ideas. So COVID has actually opened up a lot of problems which the world is facing. You need to look around to see what are those problems and try to figure out, if you have to come up with a solution, what it will be. Maybe it failed, but I said, every time you fail, you learn something. We are not looking for success. We are looking for to learn from every project, every experience we do. So if you guys want to come back to me, I will be very happy to go and find out the top 3 problems you have seen, which got you really frustrated at the time of COVID crisis. Start with there and let's see what is the solution we can come up with.
Interesting. That's how I think the ideas come out of the problems.
Okay, can I just share one more idea, startup
Please.
idea for the group? Okay,
Please.
so come to think of it, it's a very crazy idea. Okay, because in COVID, you have a social distancing. Yeah. Okay, you have to maintain 2 feet social distance. What if I have a watch which actually give out the LED light, which when I do this, it says where is that 2 meters. I have a shoe, I put that device which actually say where is that 2 meters. Because you said 2 meters, how should I know where is 2 meters? So every time I stand, I know, okay, this is the 2 meters, 2 feet, nobody should stand close to me. So guess what? Everybody is walking and making sure that they're not standing within that range of this thing. That is simple common sense idea. Look around, there are a lot of problems which need to be solved. This is one of the ideas for your COVID crisis.
Oh. Yes. Yeah, so we'll take last 3 questions from the people. Okay. Again, one more question from Nalin Singh. He asked, how strong one should play by her or his instincts in terms of ideas, execution, etc.
Okay. See, instinct is very important. Okay, it's a double-edged sword. If you are not convinced, why should somebody else be convinced? Okay, so your instinct said this is the best idea. Okay. And if your instinct said this is not the best idea, so you go and pitch to other people, they will not be convinced because they can clearly see through that you yourself are not convinced about it. Okay, so for everything, when I said double-edged sword, you have to have a very strong instinct that this is something I feel passionate about. If you don't feel passionate about something, okay, just do it when you have time, but not the full time. Because when you pitch the idea to other people to get funding, to get people to talent to come and work for you, it will clearly come across that you yourself are not convinced. Okay, so instinct is very important. And you have to go by it, because when you have an idea, only you can see what is the potential, nobody else can. If Steve Jobs had asked people, should I come up with an iPod? Everybody would have said no. But his instinct said, people don't know what they want till the time I told them so. And he made sure that the iPod actually came about. But the other side of that, Pawan, is we get too obsessed with our ideas. Okay?
Yeah.
And to the extent, we lose the practicality of it. It's like a painter spending time and time again, keep repeating, making that painting very good without any incremental benefit of it. Because after some time, it does not have any incremental benefit. But when you get too obsessed with your idea, with your instinct idea, you become too obsessive and you lose the practical side of it. So instinct is important, but don't get too obsessive to the extent where your utility, like marginal utility of that additional thing, will actually pull you down rather than make you successful. Go for your instinct is what my message will be, but don't get too obsessed.
Yes. So there is one question from Pranoy Bhattacharya. She asked, sir, can you speak a bit on motivation and how to overcome a bad day or a bad mood? How do you do that? I mean, what motivates you?
So basically, 2 ways, 2 things here. One is always remember, life experience is not linear. Okay, so people who are math students know linear is a straight line. Okay, we always assume life experiences are linear. If it is good, we feel everything will be good all the time. If things are bad, we always assume things will be bad all the time. But what we have experienced and what we realize that life is all about up and down. It's not one straight line. You have one up, 2 days down, 2 days up, 1 day down. So first realization is the fact that your experiences life is not linear. It is going to be up and down. Second, stop thinking that you are the only one facing problem and you're the first person to face the problem. Because what my experience has been, people think when something goes wrong with them, they think they are the only one facing this problem and they're the first person in the world to face the problem. No, everybody has the problem, different problems in their own way. So neither you are the first nor the only one to face problems. So stop feeling pity about yourself. Okay. The third way to actually overcome a bad day, what do I do? So I have a lot of bad days as well. So you have to have one thing which you feel excited about, a passion. Okay. Let's say my passion is to make videos. It's not that I want to become a video maker. It's not that I want to become a documentary maker, but that says my passion to make videos, a small 1-minute video. Every time I get stressed, what do? I get into that shell of my passion. And when I do something which I feel passionate about, in this case, videos, I forget all about my worries because I'm so engrossed in my passion that all the worries are gone till the time I'm there. So everybody, make sure that you have one passion which you care about, which is not your career, which is not your idea, but that is something which you feel very happy about when you do. Just go and just do that. So that is one way I overcome. I have 2 or 3 things which I feel passionate about. I just get into that every time there's a stress, I forget everything till the time I'm doing that, then I come out of it.
Interesting. I think that answers, how to get motivation on a day-to-day basis. Next is, there are few more questions.
Okay,
I just,
so you read that. So let me actually give my McDonald's thing.
yes,
Okay.
I was able to
All right.
remind you
Okay.
McDonald's
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
So McDonald's, the second reason. I said the first reason was biryani. The second reason was McDonald's. Why I'm excited talking to this group. Okay. So if you look at potatoes, I call the group of people in this group, the young people, I call them potatoes who have not been McDonaldized. Okay. So what do I mean? So if you look at potatoes on its own, it's a very versatile vegetable. It can become curry, it can become salad, it can become stew, it can become mash, and different things it can become. Very versatile. But once it goes to McDonald's, it has only one form, which is French fries, which looks the same, feel the same, taste the same, price the same, you go anywhere in the world. Till the time you are students, till the time you are young, the stage at which you are that versatile potatoes. Try to learn and do different things as much as possible, because once you hit the success, once you start doing the job, then you will start thinking like everybody else and you lose your versatility. And when smart people lose their versatility, it is a very sad day. One day it will come where you will be, because you are responsible for a project, you are responsible for a product, you are responsible for a company. It will come one day when you have to focus on one thing. But till the time that thing comes, try to use your versatility to get and do as many things as possible. That's where I go back to Arnav's question, is that don't worry. You are at that versatility stage where you can experiment and try new things. If somebody picks up an idea and say, Arnav, this is it, that's it. You will stop doing anything new. So don't be potatoes who get McDonald's. One day you will be. Right now you are, in that versatility stage. And that is the reason why I like to talk, is because when you guys talk, you come out with ideas which are not being out there, because you think crazily, you think differently. And that is where I learn. I learned a lot listening to the questions, because those questions are like thought-provoking for me. Instigation of ideas. When somebody asks 12th grade, should I leave the school? I'm going to go back and think deep. So that is what the advantage of having and speaking to people who are in that potato stage, who have not been McDonald's. That is the reason when you go back to school, use that as an opportunity. Where you are forced to go to school, that is the way to get something out of it. You may not like it, but you still need to find the positive thing, the motivation part. And that motivation is the versatility. Try, pitch, disrupt. And then one fine day when you get the job, when you get a company, when you become the leadership, all this will be gone. You'll be confined to that one project, one idea, that's it. Just like Google, just like Apple, just like any other company. So that's where I feel the McDonald's is that I like, because you guys are very versatile, can think differently, not like people of my age who are McDonaldized. Think, talk, same every time.
Yes, yes. So I think just to sum up the conversation, Nitin, I think it was an amazing conversation. I think we are going to remember this forever throughout our lives. That ICE strategy that you've talked about, inspiration, communication, and execution. These things, will forever. We are going to keep that in the mind. And the way you have inspired us. I think this is one of the best talks that I have ever hosted. I'm sure the students got related to this, and there are a lot many questions that are popping up today. In fact, on Facebook also we have got few questions coming in. So what we need to do is, I'm going to take all the questions and then I'll write to you. Maybe whenever you get some time, if at all you can answer to few of the questions. I'm going to reply back to the
More
student.
than happy. More than happy. As I said, two things which I want to actually share. Sorry, Pawan. One is that the Hyderabad connection, where I want to make sure that I give it back to a city which has made me who I am today. So
Yes.
truly, I feel, my privilege that I'm able to actually do that. I'm more than happy to spend my time to actually do it. And why I do it, and this is something, a request to everybody in the group. Okay. So when I was of the age where everybody is, there have been few people who held my hand and guided me. Okay. And that helped me to be where I am. Today, I'm in a position to do the same thing with you guys. So my request to you guys is that when you get into a stage where you are at my level, don't forget to hold somebody's hand, to pull them the way I did, the way somebody did with me. That is how we help each other to make sure that we learn from each other. So that will be my humble request to everybody. Don't forget to make sure that you hold somebody's hand. So that's why I'm very happy to help and work with you guys, to guide you guys. No problem at all.
Thank you so much, Nitin. I think it's our privilege to have you, to get your insights. Still, there are questions, guys. I
Yeah,
can
I'm
understand.
happy to take one or two if you want.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry.
will just last two questions from Kushi and Sahil. They have asked, and also Parth has asked one question. I'm just going to take
Yeah.
quickly. Sir, is there any one student who is always praised but still wants to change the education system? Can anyone lose their talent forever? I don't know in what context you've been asking, Kushi, but yeah, we'll move to the next question. Sahil has asked one question. Students in school so rarely have a mindset to change the world. Is there a better place to make contacts where such people exist?
See, the point is that it's a challenge. Okay. When I say the challenge, if you want to be a leader, you're always going to get into a situation where people don't want to listen to you. They don't believe in the ideas which you have. How do you manage that? It's exactly the same problem which you have. When I said, how do you learn? I will use school as a place to learn the skill of actually managing people who don't want to listen to me, or who do not believe in what I believe in. Because what happens in my office, it's not that everybody who comes and work with me want to listen and believe in what I do. So my skill is, how do I get them together? So if you are stuck in school like that, use school as a place to experiment. Quietly step back. Good part is that if you're the only one who want to change the world, you have less competition. The problem is if everybody wants to change the world, then you have a lot of competition. Okay, so take that as a positive that you're the only one, so you don't have a competition. And two, these are the people who are going to come and work for you one day. If they have the same attitude, you can't walk away from it. I can't walk away saying that, oh, these guys don't want to listen. But in my role, I have to find a way to get these guys encouraged. I have to find a way to get these guys together. So in school, if you have people like that, use that as an opportunity to learn the art of managing egos and getting people to believe in what you believe in. That is what a true leader is going to be.
Yes. So we have one question from Kushi asking, we are afraid of people copying our idea. If even one person says it is good, yet why is it so? That if someone else has a successful idea, we try and copy it, saying it is our inspiration. Is it right?
See, the thing is that you can copy the idea, but you can't copy the passion.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a reality. Okay,
Yes.
and so there are a lot of factors which go idea to be successful. What do I mean? You know, Google search was the 13th search engine. Google was not the first search engine. Google was the third one. Facebook was not the first social media platform. It was fourth or fifth. Okay, so people actually pick up. The only way it is going to be successful when they are going to build onto that. Okay, so when I talk about the idea which I said that, you know, put something that laser of 2 feet for the COVID, this thing, I may have actually thought through a lot what I want to do, but what you know is only this. Maybe you can improvise that, but if my idea is extremely deep, how I want to capitalize on this, okay, so what is going to happen? That idea will become success. People will copy one day or the other. You cannot avoid it. Okay, because even your idea came from somebody's inspiration. The inspiration will come from somewhere. You may be the source of inspiration. Yes, the sad part is when people copy the idea. Still sad part is that that idea becomes successful and not your thing. Okay, so remember two things. It's a reality that sooner or later the idea will come out. There's the reality that there'll be people who are ready to copy it. The only way to overcome that is first accept that this is going to happen. The only way to overcome that is you have the best execution plan to make it successful. Ideas in itself doesn't mean anything if you are unable to execute. Okay, so maybe the other guy is successful because he's able to execute the idea better than you. That means you had an idea but a bad at execution it. So why blame? Okay, that's why I said the most important thing is not the idea but the execution of it. Okay, so think through how you're going to execute and have a plan as how you want to build it next. But we get going back to that so obsessed with that one line that I will say that, you know, that 2 feet, I keep thinking just to evaluate that without thinking how could I take it to the next level. Then what happens? Somebody has actually thought through how it's going to take it to the next level. Yes, he copied the idea, but he took it to the next level. That's why he's successful. So should I blame him? The answer is no, because I stopped thinking how I can take it to the next level because I was too obsessed that should be 2.1 meter, 2. Should it be in centimeters? Should it be in millimeters? And all the, should it be the back of the shoe? Should it be the front of the shoe? Just got distracted. Okay, it's a reality. Ideas are going to be copied. Facebook was the 5th one. Google was the 13th one. That doesn't mean the first one or the 5th one will be successful. It's a lot of factors going it to be successful. Execution is one of the most, and the team makes it happen. That's why the leadership skill is absolutely important in the whole thing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Nitin. Guys, so whatever questions that you have, definitely we'll pass it on to Nitin and we'll try to get the answers for those questions and then we'll revert back to you. Once again, Nitin, I think it was an amazing session. Personally, I was very much connected to the session and, I've learned a lot in this session and I'm sure, because I understand the pulse of all my students, and also the parents and also the principals who have been attending this session. I'm sure, everyone was so happy with this. And I think this is the best we can get away, the kind of skills that we have learned out of this session and the kind of, insights that you have given. It's something that that's really good. And I'm going to put a quote in my room, biggest enemy of creativity is success. I think we need to be keep innovating. And the biggest weapon that we all have got, like you rightly mentioned, we are still in the potato stage, we are not yet McDonaldized. I think we'll definitely keep innovating and keep ideating, and we'll keep ourselves on the top in this 21st century. And once again, thank you so much. I know it's a late evening there in Singapore.
No problem. I'm used to it. And look, thank you, Pawan. Thank you. I think the work which you are doing, the platform is something which people can utilize to enhance some of the skills. And also, if you guys like to, I write quite a bit on leadership. So feel free to go to my LinkedIn profile. That's where I post most of the stuff. You can actually read it, get connected. I'm more than happy to guide you guys. No problem at all.
Great. So we'll definitely connect with you on LinkedIn. I'll also, whatever books that have been published, I wanted to share it with all the resources that we have, the schools and also the students. I think, after this, I'm sure we all are not going to leave you alone. So we will definitely, wanted to interact more with you and, learn a lot from you. Thank you so much, Nitin. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So
guys.
thank you so much for joining the session. I'm sure I need not take the feedback. Also, already know the feedback, the kind of questions, the kind of interactions that are there. I know, it would have been a longer session, but yeah, we are sticking to the timelines. But definitely, depending on Nitin's availability, we will meet him in any other forums, and then we will see, how we can interact more with him. Thank you so much for joining. And just a quick update about the next Saturday's session. We have Chief spokesperson of BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao, joining the session the next week on Saturday, again at 6 p.m. He is going to talk about managing and overcoming entrepreneurial failures, but he is going to talk more on, how government is going to come up with, especially after COVID-19, what are the initiatives that government is releasing, and they're also going to talk about what kind of support we can expect from the government for any early stage startup entrepreneurs. So the session is going to be interesting because this is different insight altogether from the governmental perspective. Mr. Krishna Sagar Rao is going to address the session to every one of us again the next Saturday at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for joining the session. And Nitin, I think I can't get over this session. I'm going to send the recorded session to you all so that any queries that you have, you can reply back to that recorded session. I'm going to address it to Nitin. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice weekend. Stay safe. See you soon. See you on the next Saturday. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Good evening. Bye.
Good evening.